You might also get a question regarding modular system, and I'm meaning by this ECMAScript 6 modules or CommonJS modules. And for example, your question can be create an ECMAScript 6 module with functions getName, surname, and default export getFullName. And for this you must know how modules are working in JavaScript, just because it is the core component of JavaScript and we're using modules everywhere. And to use imports, we must create one more file. As you can see here, I have main.js, this is our main file, and index.html. So let's say that we're creating a new module, and we want to name it, for example, ECMAScript6.js. And inside we will write some ECMAScript 6 module. So first of all, here we want to create a method getName, and we're writing it with export const. Here is getName, and here we are getting as an argument name, and we're returning back our name. And as you can see here, we use the construction export const. And this is exactly one of the functions that we must create. And as you can see, getName and getSurname are just named functions. This is why we're writing them and we're exporting them from this module with export const. So I will copy this line and paste here, and we must name it getSurname. Here we're getting our surname, and we're just returning our surname. And the last thing that we must create is default export for getFullName. And if you don't know how to create default export, this is export default. And here we don't need to provide a name, which means here we directly have a function. In our case, maybe we can create it like this, name and surname, and we just concatenate it inside. So here we have an ECMAScript 6 string, and we just call here two our functions. First of all, getName, and we're passing inside name. After this we have a space, and here we have a second function getSurname, where we're passing surname inside. Now our ECMAScript 6.js file is a module and it is completely isolated, and only what we exported here is available outside. So let's use it now. We have here three functions. We must jump in our main.js, and here we must import them. And we're importing them like this, import, then we have brackets, and inside what we're importing, it is getName, comma, getSurname. And as you can see, my Wise editor already wrote from and here ECMAScript 6. And as you can see, it is of course black because we are not using these functions. This is why here I want to write getName, and we're passing inside, for example, Jack. Then we have here getSurname, and here will be Sparrow. And this is how we're importing and using name exports. So we're using here word import, then brackets, and inside named functions. In our case, getName, getSurname, from, and this is the path to our file, ECMAScript6.js. Now the question is how we can get our default export, and for this we can write just directly after import getFullName and then comma. In this case we will get our default export first and then named exports just with brackets afterwards. Now here inside our console log we can use getFullName, and we are passing inside two strings, first of all Jack and secondly Sparrow. And now we can use these functions just like they were defined in this specific file. Now the question is how we can use ECMAScript 6 module inside our HTML. And for this we must jump inside our HTML, and here we have script with source main.js. This is totally fine, but we must write here type module, and then it will be imported like ECMAScript 6 module. Now let's try to reload our page. As you can see, actually it worked, but we are getting an error. And we are getting coarse error because this index.html can't really load main.js because you can't make a cross-origin request from file. And this is actually a problem because here I am using this source file just like normal index.html file. And if you are using some front-end framework like React or Angular, you won't have such problem because you have modular systems there out of the box. But exactly for this specific case where I have plain index.html, I must serve this index.html like a web server. And for this there is a package which is called serve. You can install it with Node.js, and as you can see now it is available for me just this index.html on localhost 3000. Now as you can see we don't have an error regarding cores, but we have a problem to load our ECMAScript 6 file, because actually here we must put .js to load this file. Now we are not getting this error, and as you can see in console, these all functions are available for us. So here we can see Jack, Sparrow, and Jack Sparrow. And this means that we successfully imported these three functions with named export and default export from our module by using ECMAScript 6 modules. Now we have a next question. We must create exactly the same stuff with CommonJS module. And if you don't know, CommonJS module is typically used inside Node.js. This is why now I want to rewrite our ECMAScript 6.js file with using of CommonJS. This is why I will copy-paste everything and create here a new file, just name it common.js, and we will rewrite everything here. In CommonJS module, you can't do the same. You can't have simultaneously default export and name exports. And this is because instead of export const, we're writing here module.exports.getName, and we're assigning a function here. The main point is if we want to write a default export, we're writing instead of export default module.exports equals, and here is our function, which means here we have a default import for our function. So what we can do in this case is just leave this getName and getSurname as private functions, because we can't really export them simultaneously with our default export. And as you can see here, we have module exports just to have our default export. Now we can jump directly in main.js and here import our default function, but to do this we must use a require keyword. This is why here I want to write const and we're getting back getFullName, and here equals require, and here is our path common.js or just common. Now I can jump inside console and write node main.js. And obviously we are getting a message getName is not defined because here we are trying to console log getName and getSurname. Now here I have just getFullName. Let's try again. As you can see, we don't have any errors and we are getting Jack Sparrow. If we really want to get all three functions, we must jump here and just use everywhere module.exports. And here will be our getName. Now here will be module.exports.getSurname, and here we want module.exports, and here will be getFullName. In this case it will work and we will get our three functions. Now we have three exports, we can jump back in main.js, and here instead of getFullName, we can just destructure and get three functions, getName, getSurname, and here getFullName. And now we can uncomment these two console logs. Let's check this out. I'm jumping to console and run node main.js, and we still get an error, getName is not defined. But actually the problem here is that inside CommonJS we don't have a function getName and getSurname, because actually we have them only in module exports. This is why this code won't work. We really need to write first of all const getName, and then after this module exports dot getName, and here equals getName. In this case this function can also work, and we must do exactly the same for our getSurname. So here will be const getSurname, and let's move it to the top. And now here is our exports getName, and now here we have getSurname, and we are assigning here our function getSurname. In this case all functions are available for us inside this file and also outside through module exports. Let's check this out. I'm running node main.js and we don't have any errors. So as you can see, we have two different variants, ECMAScript 6 and CommonJS. And if you coded all these questions, then the next question might be, what is the difference between ECMAScript 6 modules and CommonJS modules? And actually, as I already said, CommonJS modules are typically used inside Node.js. This is the standard modular system for Node.js. ECMAScript 6 modules we have in browser. This is ECMAScript 6 JavaScript. And actually you can use ECMAScript 6 modules inside Node.js. This is just a sugar around require. This is why if you are seeing ECMAScript 6 modules inside Node.js, you know that inside you still have require, because it is mandatory for Node.js. And ECMAScript 6 modules are first of all newer than CommonJS modules, and secondly they are static, which actually means you can pack this require inside if condition, for example, or inside for loop, but you can't really do it with import, because import must be always on the top, and if import is not on the top, then it will bubble automatically to the top when JavaScript parses it. And this is actually much better, first of all for safety, and secondly to implement different building tools on the top of ECMAScript 6 modules.